people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. The official word from Sandy Ryan, the former champion, and what she endured as she left her hotel room en route to the Michaela Mayer fight, saying, still trying to come to terms with what happened last night. I know I shouldn't have fought after I was attacked leaving my hotel, but I couldn't let them win like that. I was fighting off empty and still felt like I won the fight. We have obtained the CCTV and are in contact with the NYPD. Pretty obvious what happened, and the truth will be set free shortly. You tried to ruin my career, but trust me, it's only just begun. Reactions to Sandy Ryan being doused with red paint. You want to pay attention to that. En route to the Michaela Mayer fight, veteran boxing scribe Chris Mannix said, an all-time crazy story. This was a coordinated attack. Ryan was the target. The paint thrower had a getaway driver. It's likely hotel footage, along with other nearby traffic cameras, will be revealing. Veteran analyst Al Bernstein said this was shameful. I hope they get the people who did this. Sandy Ryan did a great job given how something like this could shake your psyche. I know she will be a champion again. A terrific young fighter. A terrific fight. Marred by controversy. Do I think it was a coordinated attack? Do I think it was deliberate? I absolutely do. I don't think it was by accident that Sandy, red paint, UK fighter, was doused with red paint. Red paint? Red coats?
Red coats are coming. The red coats are coming.
A coordinated attack, a themed attack. The American versus the Brit, that's what that was. And if they find out that whoever threw this paint on Sandy was in connection with Michaela Mayer, Michaela could be in deep waters, deep trouble. You can't downplay it. Because if, say, Devin Haney, when he traveled from America to Australia, was assaulted, like Sandy was assaulted, and that's what it was an assault. If somebody on George Kambosos' team, or on George Kambosos' behalf, decided to douse Devin Haney with blue paint. If Jessica McCaskill, while in Wales, en route to the Lauren Price fight, was doused with blue paint, donuts, chicken, something American. Suddenly the situation takes a very different complexion, and you can't downplay it that Sandy Ryan, as the away fighter on foreign soil, was attacked, and it was a targeted attack. It's an accident that as she's leaving the hotel to make her way to the fight, somebody just so happened to be there. Somebody just so happened to throw red paint at her. These are all coincidences? Timing of it all would be impeccable. No, it seems that someone was waiting for her. Someone knew at what time she would be leaving the hotel, and this is inside information that the regular boxing fan, the casual boxing fan, would not be privy to. They ain't gonna know. But a member of Michaela Mayer's team might. The implications are serious, are egregious, and that they're working with the NYPD, there could be criminal charges. Uh-oh. I think it was in poor taste. Sandy deserves better than that. Here you have a fighter who could have stuck to their guns and stayed on their own side of things, in their own country, have the home field advantage that a champion might be entitled to, and they decide not to do that. They decide not to hide. They decide to fight. They're going to come to your country. They're going to fight under your banner. They don't have to. They choose to, and this is what happens. It's in poor taste. Very poor taste. Well, Americans are often distasteful. I think Michaela won the fight. I think Michaela did enough to win the fight, irrespective of how this may or may not have affected Sandy Ryan's psyche. The fight, as far as the fight itself, I think Michaela won it. Though what may have seemed like a kooky idea, a fun idea at the time, is a targeted attack. Just imagine if when Michaela traveled to Liverpool to fight Natasha Jonas, somebody throws blue paint at her. Throws blue paint at her en route to the arena. I don't think Michaela would have liked that. I don't think she would have appreciated that any more than Sandy can be expected to to appreciate this. It's in poor taste.
Is there going to be a rematch?
There is. It won't be an immediate rematch. Michaela Mayer made it clear after the fight that she's targeting the champions now, the other belt holders in the welterweight division. So what Sandy Ryan can do, and what Matchroom can do for her, is have her go up to 154. Have her go up to junior middle. Fight the champions up there. I think she can clean house at that weight.
If she ain't got no leverage to get Michaela back in the ring in her very next fight, what she can do to keep busy is unify that division. If Terry Harper can win a title up there and Natasha Jonas can win a title up there, Sandy Ryan can win titles up there, perhaps become that division's undisputed champion, and over time lure Michaela Mayer into a rematch.
A second fight between Sandy and Michaela down the line, say a year from now, it could be bigger than the first one because of the controversy, because of the competitive nature of the contest. It was exciting.
It exceeded my expectations. I knew it was going to be a good fight. It was even better than I thought.
She can do that while she waits for that rematch to come around.
Just a suggestion.
Men's middleweight news. Ahead of his upcoming mandated title defense in Australia against Andre Mikhailovich, unified middleweight champion Janibek has continued to vigorously call out the other champions at the weight, more specifically, Carlos Adamez. He said, "Carlos, Laura, I'm expecting a contract from you on October 5th, to which Carlos Adamez responded with a clown emoji. Carlos said, "This imposter has been made a champion without merit. He still hasn't even fought a bar attendant. He talks about me for 1 to 2 weeks before the fight and tries to sell his fight that nobody buys."
His fight that nobody buys? Janibek is not a pay-per-view fighter, and neither are you. If you're implying that he's using your name for clout?
Carlos Adamez is not a guy that you name drop for clout, because Carlos Adamez has no clout. He says that Janibek was elevated to full champion without having faced a real fighter, but what real fighters did Carlos face? He was elevated to champion too, from interim to full.
You didn't beat a champion to be a champion.
He did, at least once, with at least one guy in Vincenzo Gualtieri, then IBF champion, unbeaten at the time, not very good, but still, that's one more champion that he beat that you didn't beat. Carlos says he's waiting for the call. Nobody wants my belt. You're telling Janibek to send you a contract while Janibek is telling you to send him a contract. What you two guys are doing is playing phone tag.
The difference.
He wants the fight and you don't. That's how it looks to me, that before Carlos was elevated to full WBC champion, he spent as much time online going back and forth with Janibek as Janibek spends on him. That was up until he was elevated to WBC champion. Now he doesn't seem as interested. He doesn't seem as hard-pressed about it.
Why?
Because he didn't have anything to lose before. Now that he's full WBC champion, at minimum, he will have that leverage over what voluntary and mandatory challengers he takes on. That as a defending champion, he's entitled to the lion's share of the pot in most situations, save a situation where he's facing another champion, let alone a unified one like Janibek. That might put you on equal footing with him, or worse. He might be the A-side over you because he's got 2 belts and you've only got 1.
I don't think Carlos wants to unify as bad as Janibek. That's how it looks.
Janibek said, "Carlos is very active on Twitter, but he never sends me a contract and he never will fight me because he's afraid." I have a question. He's a champion. Why doesn't he want to fight me? Everyone knows how much money I will fight for in Australia. For me, money is not important. For me, the title is important. Boxing is not a business, it is a sport. A champion should fight a champion.
He raises a valid point.
About champions fighting champions?
About the money. Janibek is about to travel for what is not a lot of money.
Carlos, I fight in Australia on October 4th. I'm waiting for a contract from you. Let's do it in January or February. Send me the contract.
Carlos is telling you to send him the contract.
This fight is as big now as it's going to be because neither Janibek or Carlos Adamez are all that well known. Neither fighter has all that big a following. This fight is just as big now as it was a few months ago, as it was last year. Some fights don't need to be built. Some fights, they just need to happen so that the winner of the fight is built. So that the winner of the fight moves on. Adds to their profile, their marquee value, their dominance over a given weight class. No, not every fight involving two solid fighters or two champions is box office.
Pay-per-view worthy.
It isn't. Now, maybe you could put this on the undercard of a pay-per-view involving two more known fighters in the main event for what is a better fight, but Alim Khanalai versus Adamez by itself, it ain't box office. It's a good fight, it's a meaningful fight, and it does need to happen, but you can't overcharge for it, because these two guys ain't well known enough that you should.
The issue.
The people at Top Rank are not about to break the bank to make this fight, and the people at the PBC are of a similar mindset. All this time, they haven't offered Janibek anything. They haven't made a play to unify any titles in the middleweight division because they know just as much as Top Rank. The middleweight division is abysmal. It's dead as a doorknob. There's not a lot of value there.
Then why do it? Why pursue it?
Because you still have to take out the competition. You want to make it to where you become the most established name, the most established fighter in the middleweight division, so that when the likes of a Virgil Ortiz moves up, or a Xander Zayas, a Tim Tszyu, any of those more known fighters at 154, when they go to 160, you want to make it to where they have to go through you.
Because you're the man. You're the man to beat at 160. To get there, you have to take out the competition. And just in a very general sense, that's the job. Taking out the competition. You should want to.
But how do you do that when your people aren't about to overspend to make that fight and his people aren't either? Turkey LL Sheik, it's what I said before. Turkey's interested in making the best fights possible in the sport of boxing. Well, this is one of the best possible fights you could make at middleweight right now.
And it's cost feasible. You wouldn't have to spend on Janibek versus Adamez what you're spending on Crawford's fights.
What you're spending on Fury versus Usyk or Joshua versus Dubois, whatever you're paying some of those heavyweights you have on those shows, this doesn't cost as much because neither one of these two guys make all that much money to begin with. So it won't take all that much money to get them in the ring with each other. But that's the best bet.
Turkey.
It's the only way I can see the fight happening in a timely fashion. All Janibek's got to do is take care of business in Australia against Andre Mikhailovich, and I think he's going to. I think at minimum he can knock that guy out.
I haven't really seen Turkey express an interest in the men's middleweight division.
But maybe Top Rank, maybe Bob, or Todd Duboff, or Carl Moretti can bring it to his attention. I mean, if he was aware of Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, then this is a guy who pays attention, knows what fights need to happen.
This fight needs to happen at middleweight.
And finally, in men's light heavyweight news, Kate Bivol, the ex-wife of Dmitry Bivol, ahead of his big fight with Artur Beterbiev, has once again gone on the attack. She's been doing this for the past week, the last few months, the last year or so. Feels like 2? Close to 2?
Maybe that's just a byproduct of how often she takes to social media to try and make this everybody's business, a dubious practice, if I do say so myself.
She went as far as making a declaration. Of all the injuries, all the wear and tear and surgeries that Dmitry has had over the years in relation to his boxing, she said, after all the attacks on me from the whore, Bivol, failure to pay child support for his sons, and complete refusal to communicate with them, I want to tell you.
Wait a minute. Didn't she say in a different post that he was paying her $1,100 a month in child support?
She did. And we talked about it here on the channel, but Kate said, everything I know. He has a stress fracture in his vertebra, in his back. All his hands have been operated on, and not just once. One elbow for sure. Very sore knees. His left ear is constantly swelling. It has been broken many times. And fluid has accumulated in his eye many times. Sometimes he can't see well. But the main thing is that he is a coward. We need your victory, Artur.
This broad is just after his money.
She says she's supporting Canelo. She says she's supporting Artur. She says she's supporting anyone and everyone in opposition of Dmitry. And at first glance, it just seems to me like she's a jilted ex that's after a man's money. One minute you're saying he's paying you X amount of dollars for child support. The next minute you're saying he's not paying you at all.
So then which one is it?
What it is this is another self-entitled broad, another self-interested broad trying to get at a man's money, weaponizing a divorce and weaponizing the man's children so that she can maintain the lifestyle she maintained when they were together, but now that they're not,
And I've never agreed with these practices.
she thinks she can defame him publicly in order to pressure him to give her even more money, because just the other day, you did say he was giving you X amount of dollars towards child support.
Now you're saying that he's not giving you anything. I don't believe this broad.
There's no easy way for me to say that I think a woman is a liar, that she's a gold digger. There's no easy way for me to say that in a lot of situations like this one, usually the broad is the bad guy.
The villain.
I ain't no soy boy incel that's gonna agree with whatever a broad is saying just because she's a broad, just because she's making these accusations. These are baseless accusations. You guys don't know the inner details of their relationship any more than I do, so you can't just automatically take her side because she's the one making these accusations.
She could be lying.
And if you don't entertain that possibility, it's likely due to your own lack of experience with women, in relationships, bad breakups.
What are you supposed to be? Her knight in shining armor that you're gonna take her word for it without questioning whether or not she's telling the truth? If you don't question that, that's gotta be due to a lack of life experience, relationship experience. You ain't got none.
If you did, you'd know women lie, and they lie often, to get at whatever it is they're trying to get at, and usually that's a man's money.
I don't believe a word she says.
I would sooner believe that Dimitri is compensating her for their children, but it's not the dollar amount that she wants because she thinks she's entitled to more so that she can maintain the lifestyle she maintained when they were together. But now that they're not, I don't think you're entitled to more. I don't think you deserve more money.
Go to her social media. Look at her posts. She seems to be doing just fine. Doing a lot of traveling.
Don't tell me she's strapped for cash. She doesn't look like she's strapped for cash. And if she were, she wouldn't go out of her way to make it seem like she isn't.
Her posts don't tell the story of someone who has fallen on hard times.
But she's acting like she is because she's one of these broads that thinks getting a relationship is tantamount to a profession.
It's not.
Get a job. And if your situation is not accommodating towards your two children, then maybe what Dimitri Bivol needs to do is pursue custody of those children, since you can't hack it. And since he's the one with all the money anyway, the money you're trying to get at,
The injuries.
Kate Bivol's explosive declaration of all Dimitri Bivol's wear and tear over the years as a result of being a professional boxer, just like Artur. Hand injuries, elbow injuries, ear injuries, surgeries. None of this has rendered Dimitri anywhere near as inactive or injury-prone as Artur. Artur's got wear and tear too. We hear about it all the time.
The difference is his wear and tear has sidelined him on several occasions, delayed his career, postponed his fights on several occasions. So even if Dimitri has wear and tear of his own, it hasn't had the effect on his career that it's had on Artur's.
And in a very general sense, all boxers suffer wear and tear over the years. You think you're saying something by mentioning his. You're just trying to pressure him to give you more money.
You see that at this stage in his career, he's making more money now than he ever made in the past, but your relationship is over and you still want in on that action. You feel entitled to his money. You're not.
His children are, but you're not.
Simple as.